To the casual eye, they all look the same. Big truck, big tires, crushes cars. But if you know what you are looking at, you start to see something else. A hierarchy, a ladder, a brutal, unspoken pecking order where some trucks are unknown newcomers just trying to survive their first season, and others are living legends. In this video, we are climbing that ladder. 7 levels of monster trucks. We start at the very bottom with the trucks nobody remembers yet, and we climb all the way to the top to a single machine so famous it became a household name. And by the time we reach level 7, you will understand exactly why one truck stands above every other machine the sport has ever produced. Level 1. The Rookies. Every legend starts here, at the bottom. As a fresh face nobody has heard of yet, these are the newest trucks in the Monster Jam fleet. The ones rolled out in the last season or two, still figuring out who they are. Trucks like Classroom Crusher, the first school bus-themed machine the company ever built. Trucks like Sparkle Smash and Mayhem, debuting on tour, running their first laps, taking their first jumps in front of crowds that do not yet know their names. Here is what most people do not realize. Even a rookie truck at this level is an absolute monster of engineering. It runs the exact same fundamental package as everything above it. A tube frame chassis built from chromoly steel, a skeleton designed to survive impacts that would fold a normal vehicle in half. Wrapped around that frame is a fiberglass and Lexan body, so light it can be swapped or replaced in a matter of hours. Underneath sits a custom-built engine pushing somewhere around 1,500 horsepower, supercharged and injected with methanol, drinking fuel at a rate of roughly 3 gallons every single minute. It rides on 66-inch tires, each one 43 inches wide, hand-carved over 50 hours of labor, weighing around 645 pounds with the wheel. A 4-link suspension links the axles to the frame through clusters of nitrogen-charged shocks, offering about 30 inches of travel, so the whole 12,000-pound machine can slam down from 30 feet in the air and keep going like nothing happened. These things can hit 70, even 80 miles an hour before they ever reach a ramp. That is a rookie truck. That is the machine at the bottom of this list. So why does it sit here? Because at this level, the truck has no story yet. No championships, no signature moments, no merchandise flying off the shelves, no screaming section of the crowd that shows up specifically to see it. A rookie truck is a blank page. It has the raw hardware to become anything, but it has not proven a single thing. It is one machine in a fleet of dozens, fighting just to be noticed. And in Monster Jam, being noticed is everything, because a truck has to prove itself in 2 brutally different arenas. There is racing, a head-to-head bracket where 2 trucks fly around a course side by side, and the first one across the line with the fewest penalties advances. And there is freestyle, an open floor and a limited window of time where the machine is turned loose to do the most outrageous, physics-defying stunts it can survive. A rookie has done neither. Not yet. Some of these trucks will fade away, quietly retired and forgotten within a few seasons. But a rare few will climb. They will win. They will build an identity. They will earn a following. And they will start their journey up this very ladder. Every single truck above this point was once sitting right here at level 1, completely unknown. Which brings us to the trucks that took the first big step up. The ones that figured out the single most important lesson in this entire sport. Level 2. The character trucks. If level 1 is about raw hardware, level 2 is about something the engineering alone can never give you. Personality. This is where the crowd pleasers live. The trucks built around a bold, unforgettable theme that a 5-year-old can spot from across an arena and never forget. And the king example of this level is Monster Mutt. Think about how brilliant this truck is. While most machines wear a fiberglass shell shaped like a truck or an SUV, Monster Mutt threw that idea in the trash. Its body is a die. There is a nose and a tongue hanging off the front, gritted teeth running down the sides, floppy ears flapping on the roof, and a tail wagging off the back. It is instantly recognizable. It became so popular it spawned an entire family of spin-offs: the Dalmatian, the Rottweiler, and the retired junkyard dog. Walk through any Monster Jam event and you will spot a dozen kids clutching a Monster Mutt toy before you even reach your seat. And Monster Mutt is far from alone at this level. This is the home of Megalodon, the prehistoric shark truck with a gaping mouth full of teeth that exploded in popularity almost overnight, becoming one of the most requested machines in the entire lineup. It is the home of Dragon, breathing fire and menace with a scaled, monstrous body. The home of Zombie, all rotting green flesh and reaching skeletal hands, a machine that looks like it crawled straight out of a horror film. These character trucks are merchandising engines. They sell toys, apparel, posters, and die-cast models by the truckload. And that matters more than the hardcore fans sometimes admit, because these are the gateway trucks. The machines that hook a 5-year-old, turn that child into a lifelong fan, and fill those stadiums for the next 30 years. Kids do not chant for a chassis specification. They chant for a shark, a dog, a dragon, a monster. But here is why they sit at level 2 and not higher. Personality alone does not win championships. A character truck can be beloved by every child in the building and still get knocked out in the first round of racing. Fame and pedigree are two very different things. To climb the next rung, a truck needs to prove it can actually do damage on the track, night after night, season after season, against the best machines in the world. Which brings us to the trucks that have been doing exactly that for a very long time. Level 3. The veterans. These are the workhorses, the battle-tested campaigners. The trucks that may not always steal the headlines, but have earned deep, lasting respect through sheer longevity and consistency. This is the level of Blue Thunder, the sleek, aggressive blue machine that has been a staple of the tour for years. A truck that has genuinely contended at the highest level. It is the level of Soldier Fortune, the military-themed truck with real competitive credentials. And it is the level of Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, a truck that etched its name into the record books in the most spectacular way imaginable. Because it was in Mohawk Warrior that a driver became the first person in history to break the 100 miles per hour barrier in a monster truck, clocking an official Guinness World Record speed of 100.31 miles per hour. Think about that for a second. A machine weighing 6 tons, standing 12 feet tall on tires designed for farm equipment, hurtling across the ground faster than a car doing highway speed on the interstate. This is also the level of Bounty Hunter, a truck with a long and storied rivalry at the very highest levels of competition, whose driver went head-to-head with the biggest names in the sport at multiple world finals. These veteran trucks have history. They have showed up year after year and proven they belong. Part of what makes a veteran truck so dangerous is the engineering they have mastered over the years. Every one of these machines runs 4-wheel steering, a feature that traces all the way back to the very first monster trucks, allowing a 6-ton vehicle to crab sideways and pivot into impossibly tight turns that would be flat-out impossible in any normal truck. In the hands of a team that has spent a decade dialing in its suspension, its shock pressures, its power delivery, that agility becomes a genuine weapon. The veterans know their machines inside and out. They know exactly how far they can push before something breaks, and they know how to make 12,000 pounds of steel dance across a dirt floor. What separates level 3 from the character trucks below it is credibility. Nobody questions whether these machines can compete. They have the results, the records, and the respect of the entire paddock. But what separates them from the levels above is that final piece. The gold. The championship trophies and the legendary, career-defining moments that turn a respected veteran into an untouchable icon. These trucks are good, sometimes great, but they are not yet legends. The next level is where legend begins. Level 4. The champions. Now we are into serious territory. This is the level of trucks that do not just show up, they win. Trucks with World Finals hardware and an identity strong enough to carry the entire sport on their shoulders. Because the true measuring stick in Monster Jam is the World Finals, the season-ending event where the World Championship is decided, and where the machines at this level have built their entire reputations. At the front of this pack stands El Toro Loco, the Crazy Bull, a wild machine with a bright, aggressive body, horns mounted on the roof, and a nose ring hanging off the front bumper. El Toro Loco started life as a remodeled version of an older truck called Bulldozer, but it quickly grew into something with its own fierce identity. It has competed at the Monster Jam World Finals for over 2 decades, in both racing and freestyle, and it captured a freestyle world championship along the way. It has become so central to the sport that it recently celebrated its 25th anniversary with special logos and custom entrances. El Toro Loco is living proof that a truck can be both a beloved character machine and a genuine title winner at the same time. This level is also home to Earthshaker, a heavily decorated truck with real pedigree, tied to the lineage of the star-studded fire engine machine Backdraft, and driven by people who know exactly how to get a monster truck to do things it has no business doing. And it is home to machines that carry some of the most jaw-dropping records in the entire sport. Because it was a truck at this championship-level zombie that was used to set the Guinness World Record for the most consecutive donuts, spinning 58 complete rotations in a single continuous run, and the most donuts in a single minute, at 44. The engineering required to keep a 12,000-pound machine spinning like a top, over and over, without tearing its own drivetrain apart, is genuinely staggering. What lifts these trucks above the veterans is simple. They have won the big one. They have stood at the top of a World Finals podium, or come agonizingly close, and they carry a signature identity that fans genuinely love. They are champions in the truest sense of the word. But there is a level above even the champions. A rarefied air occupied by trucks that carry something no amount of engineering can ever manufacture. A bloodline. Level 5, the bloodline. This is where it gets emotional. This is the level of trucks that are not just great machines, but living extensions of a dynasty. Trucks whose very existence tells a story that spans generations. The truck that defines this level is Sun Uva Digger. To understand why it is so special, you have to understand who built it. Sun Uva Digger was created by Ryan Anderson, the son of the man who created the single most famous monster truck in history. This truck is, quite literally, the offspring of a legend. It carries the same visual DNA as its father, the same dark, menacing spirit, but it carves out its own identity with a distinct blue and gray skeleton theme. It is familiar enough to feel like family and cool enough to stand entirely on its own 2 feet. And here's the part that lifts it to level 5. Sun Uva Digger did not coast on its famous last name. Ryan Anderson turned it into a genuine championship-caliber machine, earning world final success and establishing the truck as one of the elite competitors on the entire circuit. It became a gateway truck for a whole new generation of young fans, the machine that carries the family legacy forward into the future. A kid who falls in love with Sun Uva Digger today is being handed a direct line to a story that started decades before they were born. This level also belongs to the concept of the legacy machines as a whole, the trucks built to honor and extend a throne. The sister trucks and spin-offs that share a bloodline with the greatest of all time, each one earning its own following, its own wins, its own chapter in the story. These are not novelty acts, they are heirs. What makes these trucks so powerful is that they combine everything from the levels below. They have the world-class engineering, they have the unforgettable character, they have the championships, and on top of all of it, they carry the weight of a legacy, the emotional investment of fans who have followed a single family saga for decades. That is something no rookie truck and no character truck can ever manufacture overnight. It has to be earned across generations, passed down from one driver to the next like a family heirloom. But as powerful as the bloodline is, it exists in the shadow of the 2 greatest rivals the sport has ever produced. 2 machines so dominant, so iconic, that they occupy the top 2 levels entirely by themselves. And the first of them spent an entire era doing something a monster truck was never supposed to be able to do. Level 6. The Rival. For years, whenever the most famous truck in the sport rolled onto the track, one machine was always waiting on the other side. Its greatest enemy, its equal, its rival. And that truck is Max D Maximum Destruction, known to fans simply as Max D, was not born with that name. Its story starts as a truck called Goldberg, part of a bizarre partnership between the sport and professional wrestling, before it became Team Meats, and then finally, in 2003, transformed into the spiked, armored silver machine the world came to know. The truck was built around a persona, a powerful robot that destroys everything in its path, and it was designed to reflect the fearless, all-or-nothing style of the man who drove it. Even the debut was steeped in respect, held back a year out of consideration for the families affected by the September 11th attacks. But Max D earned its place at level 6 through two things above all else: dominance and innovation. Let us talk about the dominance first. As a team, Max D collectively racked up an astonishing 15 Monster Jam World Finals championships. 15. Its primary driver amassed a haul of World Finals titles unlike anything the sport had ever seen, winning racing crowns and freestyle crowns across more than a decade. A record so lopsided that no one else has come close to touching it. When you talk about the winningest machines in the entire history of monster trucks, this truck sits at the absolute summit of that conversation, shoulder to shoulder with only one other name. Now let us talk about the innovation, because this is where Max D truly changed everything. This is the machine that dragged monster trucks into the air in a way that redefined the entire sport. It was one of the pioneers of the backflip. Picture it: a 12,000-pound machine rolling backward, launching off a ramp, rotating a full 360 degrees and landing back on its tires, ready to keep driving. For a long stretch of Monster Jam history, this truck performed that feat with terrifying consistency, and in doing so, it hauled the entire sport into a brand new era of aerial madness. Every insane flip, every soaring stunt you see in a modern freestyle run owes a direct debt to what this machine proved was possible. It even set the record for the longest nose wheelie, balancing on its front tires alone across a distance of more than 200 feet. Max D closed out its competitive run in 2024, bringing a legendary era to an end, but its place in history is permanent. It is one half of the greatest rivalry the sport has ever known. The armored villain, the record-breaking innovator, the machine that spent an entire generation trying to dethrone the king. Trying but never quite succeeding, because there is one truck that stands above even Max D. One machine that is not just the best in the sport, but the very face of it. And that brings us, finally, to the top of the ladder. Level 7, the King. There was only ever one truck that could sit here. One machine so legendary that its silhouette alone is instantly recognizable to people who have never watched a single minute of monster truck competition in their entire life. Gravedigger. This is the flagship of Monster Jam, the most famous monster truck of all time. The truck that, for millions of people around the world, simply is monster trucks. If a child can name only one truck on the planet, the odds are overwhelming that it is this one. Its story began back in 1982 when a driver named Dennis Anderson built a scrappy mud bogger out of salvaged parts, including the body of an old pickup. He gave it a haunting, ghostly graveyard paint scheme unlike anything else out there, and he drove it with a wild, fearless, all-or-nothing style that fans had simply never seen before. When he got knocked out early in a race, he refused to stop. He would keep driving anyway, putting on an unscheduled encore that sent the crowd into a frenzy. In doing so, he is often credited as the father of freestyle itself, the entire discipline that now defines the modern sport. He did not just build a truck, he built a whole new way of competing. The theme stuck, the legend grew, and the truck became so valuable that its rights were eventually sold to the company that runs Monster Jam, cementing its status as the official flagship of the entire tour. Now consider the sheer scale of this machine, not as a single truck, but as an institution. Over the decades, more than 30 numbered Gravedigger trucks have been built and maintained at the team's workshop, so that a Gravedigger can appear at essentially every Monster Jam event on Earth at the same time. At least one Gravedigger has competed at every single Monster Jam World Finals since the event first began. Events where no Gravedigger appears at all are so rare they are treated as notable historical footnotes, remembered specifically because the king was absent. And then there is the winning. As a team, Gravedigger has hauled in around 14 World Finals championships over the years, a stack of gold that places it right at the very top of the sport, level with its greatest rival and above everyone else. Today, the truck is driven by the creator's own children, carrying the family bloodline directly into the modern era, which is why the machines at level 5 feel so connected to this one. They flow from it. But numbers only tell part of the story. Consider this single moment. It was in a gravedigger that a driver launched off a ramp and soared 33 feet and 9 inches into the air, setting the Guinness World Record for the highest jump ever performed in a monster truck, obliterating the previous record by more than 12 feet on a first and only attempt. 33 feet, straight up, in a 12,000-pound machine. That is why Gravedigger sits at level 7 entirely alone. It has the history, stretching all the way back to the raw early days of the sport. It has the engineering, constantly rebuilt and updated across dozens of machines, while somehow remaining genuinely competitive against trucks built decades later. It has the championships, standing among the most decorated machines ever to turn a wheel. It has the records. It has the family bloodline running through it. And above all of that, it has the one thing that cannot be bought, built, or manufactured. It has become a genuine cultural icon, a machine whose fame reaches far beyond the sport that created it. Every other truck on this list, from the rookies clawing for recognition, to the character trucks winning hearts, to the veterans earning respect, to the champions taking home gold, to the bloodline carrying legacies forward, to the great rival pushing the limits of what is physically possible, exists in a sport that this one truck helped define. They are all climbing a ladder that Gravedigger has been sitting at the top of for as long as anyone can remember. So, there you have it, the 7 levels of monster trucks in Monster Jam. We started at the bottom with the rookies, unproven machines packing world-class hardware and no story yet. We climbed to the character trucks, the crowd pleasers who understood that personality is its own kind of power. We moved up to the veterans, the battle-tested workhorses who earned respect through longevity and record-shattering runs. We reached the champions, the trucks that do not just compete but win. We climbed into the bloodline, the machines carrying entire family dynasties on their shoulders. We stood beside the great rival, the armored innovator that dragged the whole sport into the air and stacked championships like no other. And finally, we reached the king, the ghostly flagship that started as a mud bogger and became a household name across the entire planet. What becomes clear, when you look at all 7 levels together, is that a monster truck is never just a monster truck. Underneath the noise and the crushed cars and the 66-inch tires, there is a hierarchy built on decades of history, engineering, competition, and culture. 2 trucks may look completely identical rolling onto the track, running the same 1,500 horsepower, the same methanol-fed engines, the same tube frame chassis. But one might be a nameless newcomer running its very first season, and the other might be a legend with 30 years of history and a world record to its name. That is the real beauty of this sport. Every one of those legends at the top was once a rookie at the bottom. Every icon started as a complete unknown. And somewhere out there right now on some tour, in some arena, there is a brand new truck taking its first jump, completely unknown to the world, that just might spend the next 30 years climbing all the way to the top of this very ladder. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe for more hard-hitting Monster Jam documentary. Until next time. Next.